But the fourth and final object that I only encountered after moving to America was pumpkin-flavoured everything. I've just realised that's multiple objects. Hello, I'm Lawrence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to autumn, specifically autumn objects. On the whole, I think it's fair to say that what you're doing. On the whole, I think it's fair to say that Britain and America share quite a lot of autumn traditions, and because of that, a lot of the objects are actually quite similar. So before Uncle Toby gets ahead of himself, as he always does, both countries have pumpkins, orange wreaths, broomsticks, though we have actual ones that fly. Right, there are a lot of objects associated with fall that you will find in both countries. Those, for obvious reasons, don't make today's list. So Lawrence, when you lived in Britain, did you encounter cardigans? Yes, to both the clothing item and the band. Did you encounter toffee apples? Again, yes. Did you encounter pumpkin-flavoured dog food? Actually, no. More on that later. For this very video is about autumn objects that I only encountered after moving to America. And here are 4 of them. Whether you call it autumn or fall, one of my favourite things about this time of year are the leaves. But I couldn't have just done an entry about leaves in general because we have those in Britain. So I had to go through my leaf scrapbook, which tells you what kind of party animal I am these days, and look at those leaves that I only encountered here and ones that were specifically resplendent during fall. So I thought intensely about oak trees, elm, maple, and then realised that we have those in Britain. So they were scratched off the list until I arrived at this one. Sassafras, is that correct? Thank you. Sassafras. And while sassafras might sound like a character from Lord of the Rings, it's actually a type of tree that you'll find in the eastern United States. And interestingly, it's an aromatic tree, so it'll make your garden smell like soap or rich ladies. But we're not here to talk about the tree itself, because the tree itself is not particularly a fall object, because it's there every day, all year, for 800 years. We're here to talk about its leaves, which at this time of year are turning yellow, cowards. And I took an interest in its leaves in a way that you can only do when you reach your late 30s, because I noticed that it had 3 distinct types. Firstly, it has a bog standard single-pronged leaf that looks like, for want of a better comparison, a butter knife. Then it has a type of leaf that most of the best forestry experts insist looks like a mitten. And then it has its world-famous triple-pronged leaf, which looks like somebody's first attempt at a devil's fork, which is appropriate given that it's Halloween this month.
Oh. You didn't put the fall decorations up?
What, in the shop?
Yeah, I thought you were going to do that.
I was going to do that, but then I thought, the cat will eat them. So I didn't. Should I do it?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Don't eat that. Don't eat that. Don't eat that, Kafka. If I hadn't stopped him in time, he may well have choked on one of those berries, which is to say this was an elaborate setup in order to transition to the next entry. Because the next entry is chokeberries. What's a chokeberry? Well, it's a type of berry that's popular at this time of the year and is native to the northeastern United States. The name chokeberry comes from the astringency of the fruits, which create the sensation of making one's mouth pucker. I read that on Wikipedia. And in case you're curious, you can eat them raw off the tree, which are reputed to have an FDA warning under the bark. What you can't do and mustn't do under any circumstance is confuse the chokeberry with chuckberry. Although in theory one of these could roll over Beethoven. And it just happens that since I moved to the United States, chokeberries followed me around. I've encountered them in Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, and Chicago, and God willing, hopefully they have a presence in Berryville. And while you can eat them raw, they're usually processed, turning up in goods such as wine, jam, syrup, juice, soft spreads, teas, salsa, chili starters, extracts, beer, ice cream, and the intense reflection of my cat's eye. Pecans. We're not going to have another debate about how you pronounce the word. I've got my pronunciation, you've got yours, but what I do know is this. I don't remember eating pecans when I lived in the UK. In hindsight, this could just be because I was a picky eater instead of a pecan eater. Because it turns out Britain does have pelicans. It's just that this nut, or seed, is way more prevalent in the United States. And there are two good reasons for this. They grow on pecan trees, predominantly in the southern United States. Once again, ooh, Lawrence, why didn't you just devote this section to the tree instead of its nuts? That's not a euphemism. I mean, what is it? Have you got something against trees all of a sudden? Do you not like trees? Do you hate trees now? Yes. But the other reason that the pecan is so popular in the United States is because of pecan pie. And now you might be thinking, wow, Lawrence, this is even weirder. Why didn't you just make this section about the pecan pie? Because firstly, the pecan pie is a collection of objects. And secondly, I want to savour the pecan pie for a later video on fall foods, an idea that's contradicted by this. An early draft of this video had me concluding it with the absolute kingpin of fall objects, the pumpkin, or pumpkin. But then I searched my memory banks and remembered there was a time when I was about the size of a pumpkin that I carved one. In other words, Britain absolutely sells pumpkins at this time of year, and for that reason, they didn't make the list. That said, and I've just thought of a future video title, British pumpkin production ain't got nothing on America. I'll save the details of that extraordinary claim for that very video. But the fourth and final object that I only encountered after moving to America was pumpkin-flavoured everything. I've just realised that's multiple objects. And that's because in America, you can get the following: pumpkin-flavoured pretzels, pie, lattes, jamba juice, cereal, Werther's Original, Milano cookies, protein powder, ice cream, cake rolls, protein bars, Oreos, instant pumpkin spice latte for dogs, seasoning spray, coffee creamer, gelato, bagels, jello, granola bars, applesauce, donuts, tea, chocolate truffles, popcorn, croissants, crisps and/or chips, butter, oatmeal, cream cheese, coffee liqueurs, marshmallows, almonds, bread, coconut milk, cinnamon rolls, cupcakes, Peeps, which do more damage to my teeth than being British, cookie dough, moonshine, this is insane, fig Newtons, cappuccino, milkshakes, Dairy Queen blizzards, Pop-Tarts, salsa, and my wife's soul. In Britain, the only pumpkin thing that I can remember was an actual pumpkin, and I didn't eat it, I just carved my face into it and accidentally set it on fire. In the meantime, my videos would go up in flames if it weren't for my patrons who make these videos possible. If you would like to become a patron, you can do so at patreon.com/lostinthepond. Until next time, goodbye. Hey, Kafka, get down.